All right. So last week, out in the nice, cool breeze, crisp night, we sat outside and we enjoyed week one of Me, Myself, and iPhone, and just the reminder that the normal teenager is in front of a screen for 7 hours and 22 minutes every day. The first point last week was screens aren't all bad, but they can be a source of temptation. Number two was use discernment with what you put on your screen. We talked about GIGO, not 50% or more on car insurance, but GIGO, garbage in and garbage out. And then number three was commit to accountability and balance with screen time. And the last thought that I left you with was no screen should control you, but we should be controlled by God's Spirit. This week we're going to talk about the effects that media can have on our heart and on our mind. And so we're just going to kick off right here, and we're just going to take a poll real quick, okay? So we've got a couple movies up here, and tonight's message is titled Showtime. So there you go, there's that. I forgot about that part, sorry Seth. All right, going on to the movies. It's some popular movies right now. We got the Super Mario Brothers movie. Has anybody seen that yet?
No.
Oh my goodness, it's incredible. You need to go see it. It's so good. Right? We got Jesus Revolution. We have Ant-Man and Wasp Quantumanium. And then we've got the Avatar Way of the Water. All right, so which one's your favorite movie right here?
Jesus
Avatar? See, I haven't seen Avatar.
I haven't seen any of them, so.
I haven't seen the first one even.
Jesus
Was it like 20 years now? Avatar's also, I need to see it then. I know, Mario is like the best movie ever. I'm telling you, it's so good. It's worth going to see. All right, so I felt like we were kind of split around here on the movies. All right, so here we go. Shows. Here we go. We got a couple shows here. We've got my favorite right now, The Mandalorian. Anybody watching The Mandalorian? Okay, come on, Dave. All right, well, it just finished. The finale just aired last week. For Sarah, that one's for you. A farmer wants a wife. Sarah, that's all she's been talking about lately, right? I know I've heard a couple of you talk about Outer Banks, like that's the show. And maybe none of those are your style, but you like cooking shows. Anybody cooking show people? Any cooking shows, right? One of my favorites right now is Next Level Chef. It is probably one of the greatest cooking shows ever. It's just intense, and I love it. And I love Gordon Ramsay, so... no, they get like 30 minutes. It's crazy and intense. All right, so TV shows. Anybody got like a different one? You're like, this is my show right now. Anybody got a show? What's your show?
Cobra Kai is good.
Cobra Kai? What was it, Alyssa? What's your show? The Last of Us. I've heard of it. I just have never.
Alone's good. It's like
Alone?
like a zombie.
I think it's some kind of zombie.
The Chosen.
What'd you say, Aniston? Manifest. Oh, come on.
Hey,
I love Manifest. Manifest is incredible. All right, and then the last but not least, video games. Video games. I know 2K. Some of the guys are into 2K. We got Fortnite. I know some of y'all like Fortnite and Call of Duty. And then some are just, we like Minecraft, right? And then, but I mean, come on. It doesn't get better than the old school. It's me, Mario. I mean, come on, like Mario Party, Mario Kart, Mario 3D World. Like, I'm just telling you, it just doesn't get better than old school Mario. Okay? Madden. All right, I see some Madden. I hear you. All right. I know I got y'all all hyped. Everybody's like, no, this is the better video game. But here we go. Here's the truth. Are you ready for the truth here? TV and streaming are not going anywhere, right? It has become the thing. Ever since the pandemic, like everybody is starting streaming services. Like if you're not careful, you would pay more for streaming services than you would dish or cable TV. Like it is crazy with how many are out there. And how many of you, when you have a streaming service, would prefer it with no ads? Anybody like ads, or does everybody like no ads? Like get rid of those things, right? I'll pay $5 extra a month if it means no ads, right?
free premium to get like not have ads.
Just to not have ads, right? Yeah, absolutely. Like, I don't use certain things because I'm like, I'm tired of ads. Like, they're annoying, right?
I got Spotify Premium.
Spotify Premium. I just have Apple Music, so I don't have to worry about ads. All right, so here is the question. How much time do people spend watching or playing entertainment? How much time do people spend watching and playing entertainment? The New York Post conducted a study and they came up with an average. Are you ready for this? The average person, all right, the average person will spend 78,705 hours in front of a screen in their lifetime. 78,705 hours of your lifetime averagely will be spent in front of a screen. Now, if we break that down, that is the equivalent to 3,279 days, right? That is, and if we break it down just a little bit further here, that is almost 9 years of your life. 9 years of your life will be spent in front of a screen watching something or playing a video game or something. Like, 9 years. Like, I'm like, that's a long time. But I mean, I can see it, right? And here's just a little bit crazier, if we want to go a little bit crazier here. The average adult is going to spend in their lifetime 2,943 hours deciding what to watch. So not only are you spending all this time watching it, but you're spending a ton of time just trying to decide. That breaks down to 122 days. 122 days of your life are spent trying to figure out what to watch. Right? Have you ever done that, like, as a family? Like, everybody sits down and now it's like, okay, what are we going to watch? Right? Me and Miss Lindsay, when we have a bunch of shows lined up, like, it's like, okay, we haven't got a chance to watch TV in a while, and now our shows are stacking up. What do you want to watch? Right? And we just stare and we go back and forth like, ooh, I like this show. Yeah, but, but we're almost caught up on that one. Or what about this one? And then it's like, we go back and forth and it may take 15 minutes just to decide what we're going to watch. I'm like, man, we could have been halfway through a show by now. Right?
But you got to think about what you wanted to watch.
What you wanted to watch.
Yeah.
Right.
Make your time work.
But 122 days of my life are spent on trying to decide what we were going to watch. Like, that's crazy.
No, it takes me like a minute.
So as we kind of go along with this, I know these statistics are crazy, but how do you know what to watch? Like, you know what I mean? Like, how do we know what to watch? What in our heart tells us that's what I want to watch? Like, is it, and you know, when people like recommend stuff, you know, like somebody may say, hey, you should check out Next Level Chef. It's an awesome show. What in us would causes us to go, you know what, I'm going to check that out. Is it because we trust that person? Is it because there's something that intrigues us? Like, you know, you have a favorite show, and when you have like 3 or 4 shows that you're watching, and you know, all of them you could watch, like, I'm picking SWAT over everything because I love SWAT. Like, SWAT is my show. And so I'm like, listen, we may have all these other shows, and I love all those other shows, but I'm going to watch SWAT, right? And so, you know, this decision on what to watch, sometimes it can get a little crazy. And so this is what we want to talk about. This is kind of the theme we're going on, is what to watch, right? What are we watching? And so point number 1 tonight is this. What we watch matters. What we watch matters. You should have an outline in your chair if you want to fill that out and follow along with me. The blanks are going to be, I think, yellow and underlined. I think I did them all right, hopefully. If I missed one, I apologize. You can ask me after or call it out. Be like, hey, hold on, PT, I didn't get this one. But number 1 is this: what we watch matters. Okay, 1 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 31, it says this: so whether you eat or drink or whatever you do it all for the glory of God. Not just eating and drinking, but everything you do, we do for the glory of God. So with that in mind, what we watch matters, right? What you watch matters. Like, you have to weigh the weight of what you're watching. Like, is it good? Or is it bad?
Pretty good show.
Yeah.
Is it wholesome?
Yeah.
Or is it sketchy?
It's Gordon Ramsay censored.
Is Gordon Ramsay censored? That's a good one. You know, I feel like as he gets older, he's slowed down in that craziness. But, I mean, sometimes he gets ramped up. I think it depends on the show. But, you know, what we watch does matter. It's because whether we like it or not, what we watch is what's going into us, right? And so what we see with our eyes, what we hear with our ears, it's going in. It's that phrase from last week, garbage in, garbage out. So the same is true, good in, good out, right? And so what we watch has weight, it has value, it matters. You have to make good choices when it comes to what we watch, what we consume. I'm not even just talking about TVs and movies, but even video games.
Yeah.
Like, what you're playing matters. Like, when you put that stuff in, it will come out, right? Point number 2 is this: be aware of the rating of what you're watching. Be aware of the rating of what you're watching. So, the breakdown of ratings is pretty interesting. You know, I kind of glanced at them today a little bit. But the ESRB rating system, and I wish I remember, it's like electronic software rating balance, or I don't remember what B stands for, but it was something along those lines. And so that, you know, across video games, they have the E for everyone and the E10 plus, meaning only 10-year-olds and higher should play this game, and then teen for, you know, T for teen, and M for mature. And you know, it's really crazy to me when you have an 8-year-old playing a M-rated game, right? But it happens all the time. And like, again, what you watch matters, what you put in matters, and so we have to be aware of what we are putting into us, right? When you go to see a movie, like, there's very rarely any G-rated movies anymore, but you know, you have the G-rated, which is like the general, then you have the PG, which is parental guidance, and then you have PG-13, meaning you should be, parental guidance of you should be 13 to watch this, right? And then you have the R, which is like, you know, hey, you have to be 18 or older to even come see this movie. And so we, again, even PG-13 nowadays are becoming just as bad as R-rated movies. Like, I remember when I was a kid, like, sometimes they would slip little things into PG-13 movies, and it was like, whoa, like, you know, and now I just feel like it gets worse and worse, and they're trying to slide more and more into just even a rating that would even be okay for all of you. And so we have to be careful of what we are watching. And then your TV shows. Right, I don't know if you've ever noticed this, but at the top left corner, as soon as your show comes on, even after a commercial break, it'll show. It's like it's how you know you're at the end of the commercials and starting the show again. But this little box comes across the top, and it says a couple different things. It may say TV-Y, which is for all children. It may say TV-Y7, which is directed towards older children, 7 and above. It may say TV-G, which means it's a general audience, it's for everybody. It may say TV-PG, which is a parental guidance suggested. TV-14, meaning, hey, parents, you should strongly be cautioned about this, like there might be some stuff in it. And then you have TV-MA, which means a mature audience only. And you need to pay attention to that stuff. Right? Like, even on streaming services, like, it's just easy to scroll and find something. And like we said a couple weeks ago, like, even Netflix, like, there's a lot of good on Netflix, but there's also a lot of bad on Netflix. Right? There's a lot of good on Disney Plus, but hey, there might be a couple things in there that maybe aren't healthy for you. There might be some cool shows on HBO Max, but there might also be some not so good stuff. And you have to pay attention to what the rating is to know, like, hey, is this smart for me to watch. I have to be aware because I have to know that what I watch matters, right? Psalms 101 verse 3, it says this, I will refuse to look at anything vile and vulgar. I will refuse to look at anything vile and vulgar. David right here is just saying, listen, I'm going to make a covenant right here with my eyes, and I'm just going to make up my mind that I'm going to guard what I watch because I know what I look at matters, and I'm not going to allow myself to look at anything that is vile and vulgar. And this is way before they had YouTube, and this is way before they had TV, and this is way before they had screens, right? And David was saying that then. Colossians chapter 3, verse 1 through 3, it says this, since you have been raised to new life with Christ, set your sights on the realities of heaven, where Christ sits in the place of honor at God's right hand. Think about the things of heaven, not the things of earth. For you died to this life, and your real life is hidden with Christ in God. So if what we watch matters, we need to really take this into account here that, listen, we have been given a new life when we've surrendered our life to Jesus. And when we give our life to Jesus, our life is no longer our own, but we have surrendered it to Him, and we're trying to live for Him. And if we are making those choices and not really including Him into the account, then basically what we're doing is saying, you know what, Jesus, I don't really want you as a part of this decision. I kind of want to go with my flesh here. I'm going to be a little bit selfish. I'm going to choose to feed what I want. And you know, like, have you ever been watching a show or a movie and like you just get a check in your spirit?
Yeah.
Like it's just kind of like, this isn't exactly good, right? And so that leads me to point number 3 tonight, which is this: know that what you watch is shaping you. Know that what you watch is shaping you. Again, garbage in, garbage out. What we watch shapes us. If we're watching garbage, if we're consuming garbage, it's going to shape us, and garbage is going to come out. But if we put good in, guess what? Good is going to come out. It's going to shape us. My favorite scripture, it is the Trinity Youth Shirt that's going to be made here soon, and it is Proverbs chapter 4, verse 23. And it says this: guard your heart. Guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. Your heart determines the course of your life, and you've got to guard it. You're responsible for guarding your heart. Nobody else can make those choices for you. You have to make the choices. You have to make the smart choices. You have to know that what you watch matters. And you have to know that it's shaping you. And so that means that you have to guard your heart. So if you're guarding your heart, you have to look at the show, you have to look at the video game, you have to look at the movie, and you need to ask some questions. Like, what is this show saying? What is it saying? Because here's the reality. Sometimes things just make us laugh, or they make us happy, right? Or there's some characters that we really enjoy, but then on the other side, there's some characters that we're like, I don't really like that.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's been shows where I've been watching it and I'm like, I connect with some of the characters, right? And then they begin to put in some characters that I don't like so much. Their lifestyle I don't agree with. The way that they're living just kind of, and they keep kind of pushing that agenda. They keep pushing those things across the screen, and I just kind of get tired of it. And there has been many times where I've started a show and I'm like, that's enough. And I just shut it off and I never turn it back on. I've done that. I've done it. You have to ask, what is it saying? What is this teaching me? What is this show teaching me? Is it teaching me something good, or is it teaching me something bad? And this is the key that I want you to, one of the things I want you to leave here with. Don't be afraid to walk out, to turn it off, or to unsubscribe. Don't be afraid to walk out, to turn it off, or unsubscribe. When I was a teenager, I went to the movies with with my youth pastor, and we thought it was going to be this cool movie. All the previews looked cool. Like it would look. Can't even tell you what movie it was. So, but I can tell you that we were excited about it. We got in there, right? We got maybe 15 minutes into the movie, and they had dropped like a bunch of GDs. They dropped a couple, like an F-bomb in there, and we were like, this is not what we thought we were coming to watch. And we stood up and we walked out. We walked right out of the movie. Did it waste our money? Yeah. But guess what? We knew one thing. What we watch matters. What we watch is shaping us. And so we just walked out. There's been times I've been watching a show or watching a movie, and all of a sudden it just gets to a place where I'm uncomfortable and I don't like it, and my spirit has got to check, and guess what? I turn it off. Right? Have you all ever turned a show off before?
Yeah.
You've done that before, right? Like sometimes shows, maybe the love scene just goes a little too much and you're like, ugh,
Yeah.
off, right? Maybe the language just gets a little too strong, turn it off.
Yep. Mr. Beast.
Right? Maybe you just unsubscribe, right? Maybe, have you ever followed somebody maybe on Instagram or TikTok or even YouTube, right? You subscribe to somebody, and then all of a sudden their content just changes a little bit and gets just a little bit more vulgar, gets a little bit more not what you're looking for, and so it's okay to unsubscribe.
Yeah.
Like, you have to know it's okay. It's okay to walk out, it's okay to turn it off, and it's okay to unsubscribe. Matthew chapter 5, verse 30, it says this: if your hand, even your stronger hand, causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it away. For it is better for you to lose one part of your body than the whole body to be thrown into hell. Okay, what I take from that scripture is not literally cut your hand off, right? But to know that if something is causing sin, if something is shaping you away from your relationship with God, that to get rid of it, get it out of your life. And that's an okay thing to do. Like, just because all your friends watch that show doesn't mean you have to.
Yeah.
Just because everybody's talking about this TikToker doesn't mean you have to follow them. Just because everybody saw that movie doesn't mean you need to. Like, follow your convictions a little bit. It's okay to have convictions. It's okay to make a stand. It's okay to say, you know what, I haven't seen that one. Right? I'll never forget, there was one time I saw just a couple of different youth pastors post about this show. Right? They were talking about this show, I think it was on HBO. And so I was like, and the way they described it in their posts and stuff, I'm like, man, that sounds like a pretty cool show. Right? And I'm like, I'm going to check that out. And I said something to somebody one time, and they're like, oh no, you don't need to watch that show. I'm like, really? Why not? I'm like, all these youth pastor guys are posting about it. They're like, that show's got a bunch of cussing, it's got nudity, it's got like, and they started listing a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, I don't need to watch that show. You're right. I'm not even going to try it. Right? And I sat there and went, man, but like some of these guys are watching it, right? But maybe they didn't know, like, hey, listen, you garbage in, garbage out. Maybe they didn't realize, hey, what you watch is shaping you. Maybe they didn't think about what you watch matters. Maybe they weren't thinking like, okay, maybe they got hooked and they liked a couple characters, and so they just kept watching and didn't really, and they just kind of numb their mind to it. We can't numb our mind to the spiritual things. We have to continue seeking Jesus. We have to make Jesus the priority. And if we do, it's okay to walk out, it's okay to turn it off, and it's okay to unsubscribe, because what you watch is shaping you. Have I drilled that point in enough tonight? Okay, what you watch is shaping you. Last thought for tonight is this: don't let your screens define your character. Don't let the things that you watch, don't let the things that you play, don't let the things that are on your screen define your character. Let your character and the love for Jesus shape your choices. Let the character that you have, let the love for Jesus that you have shape your choices. Right? That video game may not be what you need to be playing. Don't let it define your character, but let your character and your love for Jesus make that choice. Maybe that show that you really like is really damaging to your heart. It's okay to turn it off. It's okay to walk away. You know, it may be really difficult. This may be one of those scenarios where walking away is the easier one. It's not just as easy as turning off. Maybe your family has a show. Like, this is our show. We love to watch this as a family. Right? And during the show, there's just something, and Jesus kind of the Holy Spirit puts a check in you about the show. Maybe that's the moment where you don't say, all right, guys, I can't watch this show anymore. Maybe that's just the time where you go and you just get up and walk away. Right? Because it's better to follow your convictions. It's better to make good choices than to allow the screens to define your character. I'm going to go make some pop. I got to just feel like I got to go to the bathroom. That's my famous line if I need to get up and go somewhere. I got to go to the bathroom, and then you're gone. And then you just, and then when they find you in your room afterwards, say, oh, I got distracted. Or you just, at that point, say, you know what? I just didn't like this part about that show, right?
Yeah.
But we got to be careful, right? And so, two different sides here in this that I want to touch on in this, because, listen, we're just going to be real for a second, okay? There can be temptation in all of the shows we watch. Like, there are reasons that they create production in certain ways, and there are reasons they do certain things. They may have a woman dressed just a little bit more on the skimpy side to attract the guy's eyes to stay watching it. Girls, they may put in a storyline that just draws your heart in, right? Like, oh man, look at the way he acts. Look at how sweet he is. Look at the way he cares for her, right? And it just draws you in, right? But if we're not careful, there are shows that can be really damaging to our heart. Both sides, right? And we have to be careful, because what we watch is shaping us, okay? So we're going to take just a few moments, and we're just going to spend some time with the Lord, right? I can't flip with you to TV Guide 24 verse 13 and tell you that Jesus does not agree with the show. Right? There is no TV Guide 24:13, because the Bible doesn't tell us, hey, that show's bad and this show's okay and that movie's not so good and that video game. Like, when the Bible's written, there was no such thing as TV. There was no such thing as screens. There was no such thing as media and production like this, right? They didn't have those kind of things. But the Bible does touch on issues of the heart, right? And so maybe tonight we're just going to take a few moments, and I want you to analyze. I want you to kind of allow yourself a moment to just get with Jesus, right? Allow yourself to just kind of get to feeling Him, get to that moment of spiritualness, and then as you're there, just begin to kind of walk through your favorite shows. Begin to walk through your favorite video game. Begin to walk through your favorite movies, and literally ask yourself, does this benefit me? Or is it compromising my character? Is this what Jesus would want me to watch? Or is it, oh, Lord have mercy, or is it leading me away from Him? Right? That did hurt. I'm up here closer. But we need to look at what we're watching. We need to look at what we're allowing to come into our eyes and our ears. And we have to analyze that and truly make a decision on, is it good? Is it beneficial? Or is it garbage? And do I need to turn it off, walk away, or unsubscribe?